Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media here, and of course I'm joined by author and economic analyst here at WAM, John Sneisen. And you guys might have noticed that one of the top trends in the news lately has been Deutsche Bank. Germany is struggling, and so is the global economy, and we're going to try and wrap this up real quick for you to give you a quick idea about what's going on. But lo and behold, once again, something we've been talking about non-stop since January is at its precipice, and everything we said would happen is starting to happen. Of course, there's a bit of a slowdown because, as we've talked about before, things are so manipulated that things don't just happen at the snap of a finger. Things take time as they unravel, and it's impossible to put a date on anything. But we see Deutsche Bank again and again in the news. We've talked about how it's going to be the next Lehman Brothers on steroids. So can you just go into quickly what's going on with Deutsche Bank?
Yeah, what currently is going on is Deutsche Bank has a load of issues. They recently, got fined $14 billion plus by the US government for the 2008 market manipulations that happened there. And that has just, started the snowball to roll for Deutsche Bank, and it can't pay. Pay its bribe to the U.S. government so they can get off their hook.
Bribe is definitely the right word.
Because that's what it is. It's all a bribe because they made so much more money on the actual trades that they made back in the day, in 2008, than they actually have to pay in a fine. So it's just, little pickings, but they can't even pay that. So they're in real big trouble right now, and been selling off massive amounts. They've been selling off asset management companies within their umbrella. They've been selling off anything that they get their hands on that have value that somebody else are willing to buy. And Deutsche Bank is just on the precipice right now of something really big, because there was actually talked about just recently, I think it was yesterday, they talked about the 28th of September, Germany was talking about actually bailing them out, which I don't know if Germany will bail them out, but I do know that who is going to bail them out is the European Central Bank. I
was going to say, how does the, because we're going to talk quickly in a second about how this is affecting another bank in Germany, but the world government always seems to come in and say, okay, well, we are going to prop up a dead horse. We're going to prop up something that should have been gone a long time ago, and because of that, we're going to push it off a bit further, and then it's going to come down that much harder later on.
Well, the rotten capital, the rats on the ship, like the rotten capital is leaving right now, and hedge funds are pulling out derivative positions that they have at Deutsche Bank. And it's just a massive capital flight that have just, started to be under the surface. Nobody's really talking too much about it in mainstream media, of course.
Yeah, of course.
But I think this is the start, like the little, hedge funds starting to pull out derivative positions, because that's their big manipulator scales, where they had, 55 billion plus when we talked about it. I think, well, when it started it was 75 billion, but now it's 50. I think it's gone down to way, way less. And I don't know exactly what it is at right now, but what I'm thinking is that it's just toppling that whole, and just the value of everything. It's worthless pieces of paper and contracts that they've been, flushing around the sewage economy, as I call it, and there's nothing left to have value, and people are starting, like the bankers are starting to lose faith in each other, and it seems like there's going to be something. I don't know. Tomorrow, the 30th, of course, is when the yuan gets implemented into the IMF, the special drawing right. So who knows what's going to happen tomorrow on Friday.
Talk about a basket case.
The 30th. So this will probably be out, and it would have happened already, but this is my assumption of what's going to happen. I think Deutsche Bank is just going to continue to unravel. I think there's going to come a bailout. Nobody's going to let the biggest bank in Germany go bankrupt.
Well, isn't it interesting though? People like us have been putting out this kind of information for a while, and as you mentioned, the mainstream media kind of pushes it out of their window. But I feel like the window's opening, like the allowable window of information within the mainstream media to actually talk about these things is opening, because they cannot hide it any longer.
No, exactly. Mainstream media is talking about it now, and of course, it's not just Deutsche Bank that are struggling in Germany. Germany, as I told you before, has a couple other issues as well. They're in a natural deflationary state, but their population is aging, so there's not enough people to take over, and that's also going to put massive pressure on the economy. And that's what we're seeing, because that's why Germany is one of the main forces, and also the US will also be point very soon, the major banks there. But I see Deutsche Bank, and of course now with Commerzbank, which is the I don't know if it's the second or third biggest bank in Germany, is actually relieving 9,600 people of their employees. They're just getting rid of them now. So they're all about, slimming it down and trying to get rid of as much people as possible, because they just want to run algorithms where they could just siphon off of, a little interest here and there, a little fee here and there. That's all they want to do with the global economy. And they want to implement cashless society. That's what these banks eventually want. But we can talk about
from the Communist Manifesto. But I feel like, and I'm going to make another terrible metaphor like I often do in these reports, is that I feel like it's just like a little lizard hanging out underneath some leaves hiding, and this lizard is now turned into Godzilla, and you cannot hide it any longer. Folks, this is getting so big that the mainstream media is being forced to talk about it and pretend like they're still trying to say everything's going to be okay. And in some cases, I heard earlier on today, well, it's not a big deal because they've learned from the past financial crises and they're going to get way above this. Not bloody likely, folks.
Deutsche Bank is really insolvent. That's all that it comes down to.
Yeah.
That's my final thoughts on everything that we've been talking about now for a little over half a year with talking about Deutsche Bank. So it all comes down to this. Deutsche Bank is going to fail. They're just going to try whatever they can to stop it. Well, not to stop it, but prolong it.
Yeah, and this over-the-top central planning, this globalist order is on its precipice, it is on our doorstep, it is in our house. And we have to do something, we have to do anything we possibly can in our power to try and avoid it the best we can. So sound money, freeing the markets, we have to do this, we have to get down to it now because it is just getting completely crazy. And when this crash happens, in one way, we can take that and run and say, okay, this is time to free the markets. But in another way, a lot of people are still ignorant about what's going on and they will push for more centralized control. And this is where that world currency comes in. This is where that global monetary union comes in, which has been growing exponentially over the years and has been in the playbook since day one. So, John, thank you for bringing this to us again. We'd love to bring you good news, but in the financial world these days, there's not a hell of a lot of good news, except for, I would say, the only good side of it is you, the individual watching this right now, because you have the power to protect yourself, to insure yourself before they go and start taking away all the gold again, like FDR did. We've got to do whatever we can to make sure that we protect ourselves and our family and insure ourselves. I'm not talking about investment, I'm talking about insurance, silver, gold, cryptocurrencies across the board that aren't centralized. Do whatever you can.
Yeah, any commodity that's not in the system, that's not in the banking system, that's not paper or electronic contracts.
Yeah, and do not put your, don't have some gold-backed IRA. Keep your money out of the banks, folks, because bail-ins are coming right to your doorstep as well. And I mean, the best I could say is as long as that money's in the bank, it's not yours. So hold on to that. Find a private vault in your locale. Do whatever you can. But folks, do whatever you can to stay away from this centrally planned artificial monetary system, because it will enslave you, it is enslaving you, and you will be wishing, once everything comes down, that you took a little bit of time and effort to actually do something to insure yourself and keep yourself and your family safe. So thank you, John. We'll be back at you with much more. Check the links below, GoFundMe, Patreon. We can't do it without you. Any donation is very much appreciated. We'll also drop the link in the comments below. So thank you very much. This is Josh Sigurdson, John Sneisen, signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.